Ever since I was a little girl, I've had a love and a passion for animals. They've always been a very important part of my life, and they have always been there for me when people aren't. I've lost a lot of friends in my life, and friends that they've promised me that they'll be there through my whole life, but it's just a fact of life. People leave, people move on, people can't keep their promises. But to me, that's not true with animals. I believe animals will always be there for you and will be your best friends at times that you need it most. And to me, that's so important. And for that reason alone, I believe that we should try our best to give animals the best life possible. And part of giving them that is with their environment. And some animals have horrible environments, whether it's they're in a horrible family that does not treat them right, or if they're in a shelter because they're lost or they never had a home. But either way, no matter what their situation is, I believe all animals deserve a an amazing life because animals are part of what give us an amazing life. And so that is why I'm going to be talking about to you today why the idea of turning all animal shelters into open admission shelters should be one of the 150 things in your monkey sphere. So you're probably like, well, what is an open admission shelter? Well, what it is it's a shelter that, unlike other places that kill off their animals when there is an overpopulation issue or other unknown reasons, um, open admission facilities have an open door policy and they will help any animal that they can. They have found solutions to prevent putting animals to sleep or killing them or whatever methods that other shelters use. What the problem is with those other shelters is many shelters aren't places where animals should be kept or where animals should live because most of the time they're not like good for animals. They're shacks that have no closure, which leads to diseases and exposure from the outdoors. And something that other shelters do, not all, but most, sell their animals off to research centers. And to me, that's just so sad because does someone need research that bad that they have to send an innocent animal off to a place to research it when there's no point? To me, there's no point of researching an innocent animal ending its life when it had so much potential to live. And some other shelters kill their animals when the shelter is overcrowded to make space for other animals. But some shelters even kill their animals when the shelter is not even overcrowded. And to me, that logic doesn't make sense because what's the point of killing the animal? It's not harming anyone, it's not needing to make space for anyone. It's just killing it for no reason. And most of the time, if you buy an animal from a shelter, you feel like you're doing a good thing, which you are, but then you figure out that it's not a great fit for your family, so you think that you're doing another good thing and bringing it back to the shelter. But although you're not wrong for thinking that, that's not the case because what most animal shelters do after they get an animal returned is they view it as unadoptable and they kill the animal. And to me, that's so sad because what it basically tells me is just because that animal wasn't a fit for one family, is they're telling that animal by ending its life that just because it wasn't fit for one family, it's not fit for all families. So you're probably wondering what a no-kill shelter is, and you're probably like, oh, it's just a shelter that doesn't kill animals. So you're probably like, why is this such a bad thing? Well, the reason for this is I believe that these shelters should not be called no-kill shelters because they do kill, and I believe that they should rather be called turn-away shelters. Because what these shelters do is they only accept a few animals, and the ones that they don't want, they put in the street, or they kind of try to hide the evidence that they don't want these animals. And what ends up happening is these animals are turned away and they end up dying. And to me, although they might not be killing them like other shelters are doing, but initially it's worse because they're just turning them away, and the feeling of not being accepted is a horrible feeling to feel. But for the few that don't get turned away are put in cages, and until they're adopted, they stay in those cages for months or years or even for the rest of their lives. And what this leads to is depression and aggressiveness of these animals, because animals are not supposed to be caged up for their whole entire life. And by these animals becoming aggressive, it makes them become unappealing to people that are looking to adopt them, because someone does not want an aggressive dog. And so therefore it just reduces their chance of adoption. And at some no-kill shelters, their conditions are criminal. And one of the saddest things about killing the animals in shelters is 600 animals are killed each hour just in the US shelters alone because of overcrowdation. So now on a more positive note, I'm going to tell you why open admission shelters are the best choice for getting animals from. And not only that, but why it's the best environment for animals to be in. Because these open admission shelters thrive off of foster families and rescue organizations. And so that means that they don't have to kill their animals for overcrowdation, because if there is an overcrowdation issue, they have these foster families and these rescue organizations to rely on in case they come to an issue. And another thing they do is make sure all their animals are neutered and spayed before adoption. And to me, I think that's a very big deal, because not only are they making it one less worry for the animal, but they're also making it an easier process for the family that may be looking to adopt them. One of the greatest things about these shelters is they don't turn away any animals like the no-kill shelters. And I think that's amazing, because no matter what's wrong with the animal, no matter if it's sick or it looks weird, they try to make this animal better to the best of their ability, but no matter what, they won't turn it away because of how it looks or how it is. They don't let it die. And another thing is there's no time limit on how long they can stay. If they're there for a couple years, and they're there for a couple years, they are not killed because there's overcrowdation. They are loved and cared for, and they're in a sterile environment. And one thing that open admission shelters make sure is they make sure that their animals are getting medical checkups, and that they make sure all their animals are healthy. And I believe the solution to turning all animal shelters into open admission shelters is what I'm about to tell you. Is open admission shelters, as we know, take in every stray, but they do sometimes have to put down animals for space. And that is, although that is sad, there is another shelter organization called limited admissions, and what these do is they don't have to put animals down because they don't accept all strays, and so there's really no need to make space. So obviously you can tell neither shelter is perfect, but if the two shelters combine in a community and the community works together to care for the homeless animal population, then we will truly have communities with a well-managed and well-cared-for homeless animal population, which is the end result that we want. The next reason is probably the next thing you're probably wondering is why you should care, because I can tell you that me that I can't fix this whole thing by myself. And so you're probably thinking, wow, this is so pointless. Why should I care? Why should this be in my monkey sphere? Why should it be one of the 150 things I care about? Well, first off, I don't know many people that don't love animals. And what makes it be in my monkey sphere is imagining my two dogs and the situation of some of the animals out there. Because most people have a beloved pet that they would do anything for. But now imagine that pet of yours being killed because it's overstayed its welcome and not even given a chance. Kill shelters are even killing animals when there's no overcrowding. Now imagine your pet being the pet being killed, or the animal being killed because it needed to make room for another animal. And to me, that is why I include this in my 150 things in my monkey sphere, is because I believe that if multiple people come together, that we can make a change in this world and make animals' environments better. And you're probably like, well, I still think it's impossible, but listen to this. Over 100 years ago, people thought ending slavery would never be possible. But look at us now 100 years later. Slavery is not near as bad as it was. And the same thing has been proven with many other social evils. All it took was a group of people to believe and start working towards this impossibility that people thought would never happen. And I believe the same thing can become possible with helping all homeless animals and giving them all a chance. And this final slide, although it has nothing to do with my presentation, I just wanted to end my presentation on a good note. And these are animals that were put in animal shelters and got adopted, and it's their before and after, and in every single one of these pictures you see a drastic difference, and to me that's amazing because it shows you how much love you give an animal, how it can change its mood drastically, and how its environment can change how it feels, and I think that's amazing. And so now you're probably wondering, well, why did you present this on a mountain? Well, the reason for that is because I believe life is a mountain and you have many obstacles that you have to climb over, and this obstacle of turning all animal shelters into open admission shelters is an obstacle. And the reason why I put these dogs at the top is because this is where I want all animals to be. I want all animals to feel this happy and look this happy. And these are the reasons why I believe that you should put this in your monkey sphere. Thank you for taking your time and listening to what I had to say, and I hope you consider this idea and consider it to be one of the 150 things that are in your monkey sphere. Thank you.